Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, Derek and I'm here with some more big decomp energy because I'm doing a follow-up video to the F-Zero X and F-Zero DD decompilation projects. That is because I've been getting a ton of questions about this one, probably because N64 decomps, recomps, and PC ports are absolutely blowing up in 2026, and these two games are so incredibly close to the finish line. I have a sneaking suspicion maybe it's something you might be playing on your PC before the end of the year, but do be aware, I'm just guessing on that. I don't have any insider information. I'm just going with my overall vibe. And whenever I talk about N64 decomps, recomps, or PC ports, one of the #1 most requested games outside of Wave Race 64, and I totally get it, is going to be F-Zero. And these things have made some incredible improvements as far as the decomp status since we last talked about them. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. But I really want to live in a universe where you can play F-Zero on your PC in widescreen with even higher frame rates, with something like an online capability to race against people all across the world, and with a DD component, maybe even a library of new tracks to play around with. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But last time I went over this, it was definitely making progress, but the percentages definitely jumped up. And again, if you're not familiar what a decomp is, I will leave a link in the description below if I remember, and odds are I will not. But basically, it is decompiling the entirety of the game on N64 back to its source code, because when you play a game on a cartridge, on a CD, or anything else, you are playing the compiled code, and the source code doesn't really exist within the build. But you can, with different tools, including Ghidra, decompile an N64 game back to its source, and then from there make a PC port out of it. You can also do a static recomp, which doesn't really require the decomp, but it's definitely one of two ways to get these things onto PC, and absolutely people are falling in love with this concept. Leave me a comment down below and you tell me so far what's your favorite N64 recomp or PC port. I would be curious. For me personally, it's definitely been Banjo-Kazooie just because it runs so much better. But if we take a look at the current decompilation status, you're going to see F-Zero X is 97.25% decompiled, leaving only 2 3/4% left to go. And the last commit was to support the expansion kit, and obviously we know that means F-Zero X DD. And that is because in Japan, I'm sure most of you are aware, but if you weren't, there was a 64 DD expansion kit that had an entire course maker on it, as well as a create a machine option. And that absolutely is a fun time and something that I want to play around with a lot more. And in my perfect imagination, and of course I'm just presuming things, not actually saying things that are going to happen, I would love the DD version of the game to work in a PC port alongside F-Zero X, being able to actually design your own courses, and then maybe even be able to play them and upload them via the PC port. Imagine a world kind of like Super Mario Maker except for F-Zero, where you could create any course to your heart's content and then make them available for people to play, maybe even playing online. It could absolutely blow this franchise wide open, and that's definitely something I would love to see. Now if we go to the heat map for F-Zero X, you'll see here that there are a couple big blue squares, which means they're not 100% decompiled, but they're basically very close at 70% all the way up to 95%. And that really is how these things work. Every single component, every single function, every single call to audio, to the video, to the controller has to be decompiled. If we take a look here, generate random course, that is 100% decompiled. Basically, that would be the code for the game to generate any sort of course it wanted to out of its core components. So it definitely is a thing. This is very far along, and I feel like people could already be working on a PC port because you don't need 100% decompiled status to actually be able to start that port. It just depends on what the last 2 3/4% are as to whether or not you'd be able to get something running or not. But it's one of those things, the last 2 3/4% might take a long time, just because obviously once you get down to the finish line, if you've been putting something off that's been confusing you, sometimes that can take maybe a month, maybe 2, it just depends. So there's absolutely no ETA on when this thing is going to be done, and of course, like to say in every video, just because something gets 100% decompiled does not mean you're going to see a PC port for it anytime soon. But F-Zero X is absolutely one of the biggest franchises for Nintendo on N64, so I feel like fans would be motivated to get it running on PC. Let's go into the first of 2 soundtrack samples, just because F-Zero has one of the best soundtracks ever put to N64 in my opinion, and I'll be right back. We'll start talking about F-Zero X DD, the game that you never got to play because it never left Japan. I mean, just imagine that soundtrack coming out of your actual headphones or your PC when you're playing on PC. It would absolutely be incredible. And when it comes to all of the different components, all of these machine draws here are just the actual ability for it to draw the graphics for every single ship within F-Zero X. That's one of those things. There's so many different core components to how this thing actually is put together and how it's made, and every single one of them needs to be decompiled by human hands alongside Goodra, I'm sure. So that's why these things definitely take a long time. It is a very involved process, and one that absolutely every single bit of the game, pun intended because it is bits, has to be decompiled and dealt with. But as we move over the DD version of the game, this is where a lot of the other fun could come in at a potential PC port, because people aren't just decompiling F-Zero X, they're also decompiling the DD version of the game. And since the N64 DD was absolutely a commercial failure, barely even released in Japan and never left, the amount of people that can actually play something like F-Zero X DD is absolutely limited. It definitely works under emulation though in Mr. FPJ, so that is always a fun time. But you will see here, it has an entire course edit option where you can build your own courses, then play them within the game, and even save them for later usage. Imagine being able to do that in a PC port, and then being able to upload those courses online that maybe you add in via mods, or maybe you can even have some sort of course selector like you would in Super Mario Maker. That is definitely something I feel like could be an absolutely huge component for a potential PC port. Now again, I'm just telling you, I am presuming things and talking about what I would love to see, but I really feel like that would almost be a no-brainer for a potential PC port somewhere down the line. Now taking a look at the GitHub for the F-Zero X expansion kit as well, that's definitely something that is in as active development as the actual F-Zero X N64 version of the game, and it is making every bit as good of progress. It is 97.10% decompiled, so 2.9% left over versus 2.75 for actually N64 F-Zero X. And that absolutely is going hand in hand, and I'm sure a lot of the work on one can definitely benefit the other. But don't forget, on the DD there's going to be different components, including that course maker, which have never been included in the actual North American release of F-Zero X. So there is a lot of work that needs to be done here that doesn't need to be done over on the base game. But of course, F-Zero DD is using code from the base game, so a lot of the work I'm sure is informative of not actually just being able to be copy and pasted, for lack of a better term, over to this decomp project as well. And that absolutely is a massive thing, and it's going to be so amazing because again, you'll see here, supporting the expansion kit was the last commit on the decomp for the N64 cart, so you can tell they're working in tandem, hand in hand. But again, this is just so exciting because this is a game absolutely still holds up every bit as good today as it ever did. And even though I will always die on this hill, the best F-Zero game was made by Sega, not Nintendo, with F-Zero GX and AX. F-Zero X is definitely the second best game in the franchise, and being able to modernize it, getting it on PC with a bunch of new features and mods, definitely a world I want to live in. Let's do one more soundtrack sample just because the music really is that good, and I'll be right back with just a little bit more F-Zero X decomp news for everyone to enjoy.
You got Ghost Power!
The final lap and the final home stretch countdown to getting F-Zero X and DD 100% decompiled. I will definitely run a follow-up video when that happens, but hopefully it takes a minute so I don't actually have to run two videos too close together. But basically that's almost always what happens when I say something's incredibly close to happening. It ends up actually getting finished up like 24 to 48 hours afterwards, which is not a good way to schedule videos talking about the same thing twice in 1 week. The algorithm absolutely hates that. But I can't wait for a potential future where we have this 100% decompiled and playable on PC, because I really feel like this game, more so than any other N64 game out there, has the potential to live a brand new life with a massive fan base, creating new maps and courses and sharing them with other people, because that really was the promise of the DD and it never really 100% got realized. But I feel like in a PC port, the actual promise of what the DD could have been would finally come to fruition in 2026 or maybe 2027. Leave me a comment down below and you tell me what's the one feature you would add to F-Zero X as a potential PC port that isn't included in the game as it is right now. Be sure to that if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, but we're done. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye bye.